Welcome to the playoff edition of the Winnipeg Jets morning after recap as the Fraud Squad goes up 1-0 in one of the craziest games I've ever seen or been to. I mean, I'm still processing the roller coaster the Winnipeg Jets and Colorado Avalanche took us on yesterday. I mean, the first period, 3-3, was an entire hockey game in one. And that feels like legitimately it was a week ago at this point. This game had it all. But let's start for some love for you, Winnipeg. The atmosphere downtown with the whiteout street parties. The atmosphere in that arena yesterday, second to none. Second to none. And don't just take my word, because some of the biggest people in sports media were saying as much. Here's what Pat McAfee, who's an international superstar at this point, was saying about the Winnipeg Arena. The barn in Winnipeg is bananas, Pat McAfee has to say. I can't wait to hear him talk about that today on his show, Electric Factory. But it was nuts in there. 40 minutes out from the game, we had Go Jets, Go chants throughout the entire concourse. Outside was just a party in itself. And you just felt the highs and the lows in that arena together. 15,000 plus strong, all pulling the same rope, trying to see the same outcome. It was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, this is what we got from the game in the first period. And shout out to the crowd. After that Nishishkin goal, the crowd was still going. They were pushing. And Josh Morrissey, as soon as he scores that goal, the building erupts. Perfect celly. Great assist from Kyle Connor, who had a 3-point night. We're going to get into him today. Vlad Nemeskov takes care of a mistake from Colorado on a great forecheck from Alex Iafallo. And that really kind of defined the game for both teams. I don't think either coach, is going to be happy with this one. Obviously, you take the win and move on. But there was a ton of sloppy mistakes that led to glorious chances. And thankfully, Alex Georgiev just stinks. I mean, look at the difference in the shot map. Who cares? We don't care about the deserve to win meter in the playoffs. You just win, baby. That's all that fucking matters. But just look at the discrepancy of what Colorado created all night versus Winnipeg did. Gonna have to clean that up. If you would have told me that Winnipeg was gonna beat Colorado in a game that opened up into a bit of a track meet, and Winnipeg would have won a game where Connor Hellebuyck led in 6, I wouldn't have believed you. And on Hellebuyck, I mean, the McKinnon 5-hole's the one you probably want back. But this guy was still calm things right down despite letting in 6. Like, this game was just... I'm having trouble talking about it. There was just so much that happened. Once again, thank you to Alex Georgiev, who let in 5 goals, more than you'd expect to see for what he faced. He just did not look comfortable and does not look comfortable. He was clearly frustrated in the net. You could see being at the arena, he wanted to get pulled after, I believe it was the 5th or 6th goal. Like, he looked at the bench and it just wasn't coming. The Avs have a real goaltending problem here. And if this is Winnipeg's worst showing and they pulled out a W despite it, there's some good things to come in this. I'm very, very curious what Rick Bowness decides to do for adjustments. Obviously, Dylan Sandberg has that big pizza, turns into a goal against. I can say our section was very comfortable with Logan Stanley on the ice last night. We know he's earned his way into this lineup. I don't know if this Colorado matchup is the matchup for him. Just some minor tweaks I'm wondering about here. On the crowd, here's what Brendan Dillon had to say about it. I think we heard all the way from Donald Street there. We heard them all the way from the True North Square. It'll be good not to have my neighbors all over me when I get home tomorrow. Yeah. Like I said, it was a madhouse there, and it was back. As for some of the players, Kyle Connor showed up. This was the best game I've seen that top line play all year. Hats off to them. They showed up when it matters. They had 3 on the night. Kyle Connor, 2 goals and assists for 3 points. They were fantastic. This was their best showing. If they're going to keep doing what they just did, you're not going to hear anyone talking about the concerns of the top line any further. Keep that going. I thought Eric Engels here, shitty cutout on the pic here, but I thought Eric Engels with Sportsnet made a great point on Nick Ehlers. I thought his fingerprints were all over this game. Nothing went to the back end net, but he was creating a lot of the transition when the Winnipeg Jets were on their heels and creating offensive chances from it. There was one point when it was 4-3, he sets up Neil Pionk backdoor. If that goes in, maybe things are different. He had created some opportunities for Sean Monahan. I think he's going to be a big piece of this going in the right direction. If you know me, big Nick Ehlers guy, but I thought yesterday was the signs of an offensive outburst coming for Nick Ehlers in the playoffs. The second efforts, he was on his game. I really enjoyed Nick Ehlers' game yesterday. But my number 1 star, the captain, captain, my captain, Adam Lowry. 2 massive goals, and the point celebration after goal number 5 against Alex Georgiev to set the tone. He was all over this game. We talk about the matchup of McKinnon versus Lowry. It's going to be a focal point of this, and to get 2 goals from Adam Lowry is just massive. You could see when he came out at the start of the game for how loud the crowd was. He took a moment and was looking around, smiling. Dylan DeMello took a moment at the end of the anthem too, which I found interesting. But I also think that early energy kind of cost the Jets early on in this one. I'll make this point and then let's get out of here. It seemed like the Jets were running around trying to send a message early, and that's why Colorado was able to grab control of this one. I think we need to see a more structured, contained. We want them being physical. We want them being aggressive. But I think there's a time and a place. Get to that structure first and build out from it. Now, win's a win. Up 1-0 in the series. The Fraud Squad is cooking. Make sure to go grab your Fraud Squad gear from houseoflocal.shop. And let's see what Game 2 has to offer tomorrow night in Winnipeg. This city's buzzing. This market's buzzing. We haven't seen a chant like the one last night in 6 years. And this was the most exciting part of the game for me, being there. So let's end off with it. Welcome to Winnipeg, Colorado. Welcome to Winnipeg, Alex Georgiev. Welcome to Winnipeg, Jared Bednar. You might want to listen to the crowd on this one.